is to attack the neck, right? My partner's hands come up to defend the neck. Exactly. See how when his hands come up, his elbows start to move away from his ribs. Remember in the close guard, we always talk about trying to get your hips high in your partner's armpits? It's the same thing from the mount too. If my partner's elbows are down, that means that my hips can't get into my partner's armpits very easily. If his elbows come away from his armpits to defend his neck, that allows me to get my hips much higher into his neck, or into his armpits. So when I'm here, I'm attacking the neck, here, I can slide in that same position, but the difference now is that instead of turning to his side, my partner's flat on his back. So what I'm looking for here is to go through, gather the far elbow, and then this foot goes diagonally across underneath here. The reason this is a little bit better is because it makes it way easier for me to throw my leg over the head. Whereas the other one, it was much more difficult. It was kind of this awkward, like, hopping kind of motion that requires a lot of flexibility for me to stay low enough, right? The other thing is that when I do this, and you train with somebody experienced, sometimes what happens is if he turns to his side, as I start doing this, he puts his back flat on the mat again, knowing that the arm bar is coming. So a little shortcut is rather than doing technical mount arm bar, we're going into an S mount arm bar. S mount is what I was just showing you about, that diagonal leg under my partner's armpit. To do that, I have to get my partner's elbows away from his ribs to expose the armpits. Usually that's done with some kind of choke, because if I just sit here like this, and I will it to happen, it's not working. So when I'm here, if I attack the neck, usually they defend here. And then from here, going underneath, gathering the elbows. So I have to make sure this elbow comes away from the ribs too. And here I'm clamping. It's called S mount because my legs make the letter S, like those real sketchy ones you draw in the high school notebooks. So here, my hand goes across to my hip. As I lean my head towards my partner's hips, my leg goes over my partner's head. And notice that I'm using a different arm to control. I'm using the north arm, the one that's closer to my partner's head. This arm goes under the leg passes over the head. As my butt touches the mat, pulling in with my heels, pinching my knees. From here, I can go 2 hands on the wrist again, taking his right arm over my right hip, and then if I need to stop his hand from turning, I could use that high elbow position. Make sense? So one more time. You go 1, 2, slide. 1, 2, catch. Lean, capture the leg goes over the head. As my hips touch the mat, pulling with my heels, pinching my knees. Catching the wrist, taking right arm over my right hip. If I need to use the high elbow, I can, because again, that stops my partner's hand from turning this way. So just to recap that, if I go here, his hand turns this way, he rolls over his shoulder, he escapes. If I feel him doing this, high elbow, stop his hand from going that way. And it doesn't take much effort. And then hips in. Partner, give it a shot. Thanks, sir.